was like for you guys? Because you guys are like flat earthers, right? Is
Yeah.
it like right to say? What was like
hmm
for you guys personally the like the proof you guys needed to be convinced that it was?
For me personally,
Yeah, yeah.
I saw a lot of compelling information. And
Mm,
for me personally, I wanted to go out and test it for myself.
uh-huh.
Uh, I think the information, I saw enough long distance observations and laser tests. I think that was enough. But I did want to go out and just double check it for myself. So I went and did a bunch of long distance observations myself because I just happened to live on a giant lake back
Yeah.
then. So I went and did a bunch of 20-kilometer observations on different days, and I could zoom in across the 20-mile lake, and I could see the shoreline on the other side of the lake every single time. And
Mm,
that's just not possible if the Earth's a globe. And I think it's just the accumulation of how many different tests we have, and then
mm.
also the lack of tests on the globe side. Like we ask people, find us one test throughout all of history, any person who measured Earth curvature, and they can never provide it.
Mm.
I got to go on mute for a bit, but I appreciate the conversation.
Hell yeah, bro. What about the others? What about the others? Is there like some proof you're like, oh no, this is bullshit, or
What do you mean the others?
yeah, like the other people in here, man.
Yeah, we're all, well, for the most part, most of us here are already fully embracing the reality that we live in, right? Which
Mm.
is a flat, stationary plane.
Do you have like some things, like quote unquote flat, like globe, Earth, around Earth, proof that you think is just dog shit? Like you don't agree
Well,
with?
all of it,
Uh,
all of it.
the,
I mean, there isn't one thing about the globe that is claimed that is even remotely true or experienced by anybody while they're here. None of it.
uh,
Think about it. This is the one I think most people should be able to kind of grasp a hold of, but for whatever reason, people want to tell me why the Earth, even though it is spinning, feels so stationary. But do you experience any motion of the Earth?
any motion.
Yeah, there's 4 different accelerations that you're supposed to be feeling right now. Number 1 is the axial rotation
Uh-huh.
of the globe. Number 2 would be the elliptical path that it takes around the sun. Third is the elliptical path that the solar system is taking around the great attractor in the Milky Way, and then, of course, the acceleration of the Milky Way through the galaxy or through the universe itself. There's 4 different vectors, accelerations actually, that you should be feeling. Do you feel any of those?
No, not necessarily.
No, you don't experience that. No one.
Oh,
Okay, bye.
did he
I'm
leave?
sure he just disconnected, dude. He'll be back in a second.
Hey,
Are
welcome
you
back.
back, buddy?
Sorry, I got kicked for whatever reason.
Yeah, you're
Wait.
all right.
So if there's no way for us to even measure the Earth's movement, and we all experience it as stationary, and all the accelerometers that we could possibly use, every method that we could possibly use to see if the Earth is moving shows nothing,
Yeah.
why should I think that I'm moving?
Um, that's a good question, bro. It's a good question. Um, like, which ones are like the accelerating forces? Because I mean, like the only thing that comes to mind is like, okay, are we like accelerating or not? And like, what is the scale at which we would be?
Okay, let
Like,
me give you examples. So these are
oh,
accelerations
oh,
because they're
oh, like if the number of which we are accelerating so low.
no. No, you're supposed to be experiencing, especially if you're on the equator, a wind of about 1,038 miles per hour. But depending on your latitude, if this was a globe and it was spinning on its axis, you might be experiencing a wind of somewhere around, 600-700 miles per hour. It all depends on where you live on this pretend globe.
Uh,
That's the wind speed. You ever been in a hurricane?
not personally, no.
You ever been in a car that's going 60 mile an hour down the highway?
I would assume so. I'm not like that familiar with
Yeah.
my own. Yeah, probably.
No, I'm just saying, okay, so if you're kilometers, so it'd be 100 kilometers per hour. You ever been in a car that's going 100 kilometers per hour?
Yeah, of course, man.
You ever stick your hand out the window?
Hmm.
Yeah. So just multiply that, right, times like 15,
Hmm.
1,038 miles per hour wind on the equator. That's what you're supposed to experience. Obviously, that's not happening.
That's faster than the speed of sound.
Yeah.
Just for context, we appreciate, right? They chuck some numbers out there and blah, blah, blah. But if you just appreciate the dynamics of being in one location on a rotating surface as compared to closer to the center of rotation. If you're, say, on the equator, you have a larger circumference than you do, say, at halfway between the equator and the point of rotation. Call that 45 degrees if you want to, right? Halfway between 0 and 90, the equator and the North Pole. So you understand that if you were to travel inwards towards that radius, you're slowing down. If you were to travel outwards from the center of that radius, the surface is speeding up. Now, this for you is going to be experienced as a rotation of the surface beneath you, isn't it?
Wait, one more time, please.
If you have a center of radius and you walk
Yeah,
outwards towards the center of radius,
yeah,
understanding that the further the radius, the increase in circumference.
yeah.
That means to go round and round, a further distance is travelled. So for you on that rotating surface that's travelling, say, 1,000 miles around the equator, but halfway between the equator and, say, the point of rotation, it's rotating at half that speed, then as you travel along that surface, you will experience the acceleration and deceleration depending on which way you travel, inwards or outwards.
Yeah.
So that's acceleration. And then think of your relative position on a three-dimensional object like a sphere. If you're standing on the equator whilst you're rotating, you must understand that it's like you're on the floor and you're going forward from that position. Closer to the center of rotation you get, you change from 90 degrees to 0 degrees, let's say, standing up at the top of that ball, like you are spinning round and round. So as you move from the north to the equator, the forces that are going to apply to you, the individual, because of your differing rotational vectors as you travel along a curved rotating surface, a sphere, are going to be felt by you, or are going to be applicable somewhere in the physical and natural world.
Okay, I see. So why aren't people testing that, bro? Like, a question that comes in my mind is like, why aren't people just testing that? Because I mean, if it's just that, then like, surely it's easy enough for anyone to prove or disprove.
It has been tested, and there's no evidence.
Oh.
I mean, it's over. There was never a globe. You don't live on one.
Okay. So what is the alternative that you guys propose
Your
for the lack
experience that
of?
the Earth is flat.
No, I
The
get
Earth is
that. I
flat,
get that.
stationary,
No, I get that, but like, I mean, if you're saying, okay, people are brainwashed since birth, or since they were like a child, they've been told it's like this, like, obviously, it would be in your best interest to convince people, right?
No, not in my best interest. People have biases, like a lot of people just for whatever reason like the idea of the globe. In fact, I think they have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome. Like they protect the idea for reasons I can't quite understand, even though their experience is completely contrary to the idea itself. So I'm not in the business of convincing anybody. All I can do is sort of point out to you the fact that the Earth is measurably flat and stationary. And since we have air pressure here enclosed, and since people just can't really kind of cope with that, they freak out and run away. They call us names, they dox us. It's pretty heinous. No, I'm not in the business of convincing anybody. It's up to you if you want to believe the truth or not. I mean, you do you, man.
Honestly, I'm just here with an open mind, man.
Okay, well, if you have an open mind, go out and test the Earth. Go ahead and measure across any distances you can with whatever things you have at your disposal. I mean, you could do it with a bathroom mirror, for crying out loud. But you can measure the surface of the Earth that it is flat. There is no deviation from horizontal anywhere, except for, of course, the hills and the mountains. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's just a flat plane. Now, if there's a whole. Here's probably the biggest thing I think people struggle with is
Yeah.
that when they go, "Holy crap, it is flat and stationary," but who am I going to tell? Because my friends, maybe my family, they're not going to accept this. They're going to buck up against it. They're going to freak out, and they always usually do. It's very rare you get somebody that's cool, calm, collected, and goes, "Wow, you know what? You're right. Actually, I've never experienced the globe. Thanks for telling me. That has
Yeah,
never happened."
like
People
are
lose their
stubborn,
mind.
bro. People are stubborn. People. Yeah. For sure. So what is the actual shape of the Earth? Because if I didn't like mishear it, apparently it's not a flat disk. So what would it be?
Yeah, the ultimate overall construction and shape of the Earth, I could not tell you.
Oh, okay.
But the surface that we dwell atop is a horizontal plane. That I can tell you.
Does everyone here share this point of view? Or are there like people who do think it's a flat disk, or like who do have an idea about like the shape?
There's a lot of people out there that speculate about what it could be, but they are just speculating, right? There's really no reference point that we can ultimately explore the overall construction of the realm. It's pretty mysterious the more that you look into it.
But
It's
it's
not as
finite,
simple as
right?
just like,
Like it is
as far
finite.
as
Like
I can tell, yeah, we have
yeah.
water and we have gas that is contained. So there's a limit to this place. Where it is, what it looks like, I have no idea.
But would it almost not have to have a shape? Like unless like if we're like talking like three-dimensional space and shit, like
Not like a cube or a sphere or a three-dimensional object like
so
that.
it's more than three-dimensional, or
If we're talking about three dimensions, it's more irregular. It's hard to place it as a shape when we're talking about irregular shapes, right? Earth shaped, and that's confusing enough, but if we're talking about three-dimensional forms, we've only really got a few to choose from. And I don't reckon it's those. Not a sphere, not a cube, not an elongated cube. And it's, I don't know, not that.
would it be like a mix of all of those, or
It's got a horizontal
There's no way to
surface.
know.
Yeah, it's horizontal where we know.
uh,
After that, no idea. How it stops, how that works, haven't got a clue. Maybe there's no more reality, three-dimensional space to exist in. Maybe somewhere it just stops. Maybe it's like a coding system, right? We're inside some kind of virtual reality, and at the edges, it's coded just to return everything back to where it came from. That might just be the gas.
Like an infinite pattern. Like,
Dude, speculation. Like
okay.
says who said, we really don't know. And anybody who makes a claim to knowing the shape, especially like a disc, just walk away from that stuff, man. They haven't got a clue. They're trying to lead you down a merry path.
So,
Most of the things within this realm have their own unique shapes, right? And I think in nature they also kind of determine that there aren't any real ideal shapes in nature. So when you look at a tree, it's tree shaped. You know, you couldn't describe to me, if I was blind, what does a tree look like, right? So I'm under the impression that the earth is earth shaped, whatever that might be.
okay. Yeah, I was under the impression that you guys thought it was just like a disc.
Nope.
Like a,
No, that's part of the propaganda. Most people have that in their mind because the propaganda that's been hoisted upon the public for who knows how many ever decades or even hundreds of years have these depictions of like the earth as a disk with water falling up it in outer space. You know, I mean,
so it's like
it's kind of silly.
so it's like flat earthers kind of like shooting their own people in the foot, like that kind of like that type of
Yeah.
thing. Right?
Just have a look in the side chat at the image I put.
Yeah. That's, no real flat earthers believe bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the ideas or the concepts about, you know, a disk in space or whatever with water falling off of it, that comes from people who believe in the globe. It's it's an attempt to make fun of and shame even the idea of flat Earth by creating something really absurd. In reality, none of us think of that, right? A disk in space with water falling out. It's very absurd. So,
So we shouldn't be thinking about the shape of the Earth. We just know it's flat, but
Yeah.
on the surface, that's what it is. Yeah.
how would that may be is beyond anyone.
Okay.
Like that? Am I getting it right?
Okay, so to fit this in, where we know of the known Earth, that's flat, but outside that bit,
Okay.
that's where it begins to curve because really the Earth has got such a large radius that for the known world, it wouldn't have a measurable rate of change of slope. I you can try and fit that in if you want to, do, but the end of the story is the Earth isn't a planet like we've been told. Right,
Okay.
it couldn't be that because what are we now making miles bigger? So Australia is still on the other side of this really big ball. It's not going to work, is it? All of the distances to things like the moon and sun and everything else, and our sizes and our masses and gravity all fall apart because it's based upon the radius of this Earth. That falls apart. Really big sphere. Welcome to flat Earth, then.
I don't know about the distance to the moon though, because I mean people did measure it with light, no? Like I mean, was there not like a thing where they put like a shiny disk or something or set like a?
It's got to orbit the Earth, dude. It's
I mean,
got an
even if it
angular
doesn't,
size in
like
the
even if it's
sky.
stationary, you know, like whatever. Like
Yeah.
weren't there
No.
people who like pointed lasers at the moon and got it back and like measured it with like the speed of light or something? Or is that did that not happen either?
It's not a TV show.
Pardon?
I thought that was on a
I think that was
TV show.
Superman.
Superman? What? I don't know.
Yeah.
I never watched Superman.
Yeah, he in one of the Superman movies back in the 80s or 70s or whatever that was,
Yeah.
he flew around the Earth so fast that he reversed its rotation and he reversed time and he rescued his girlfriend.
Oh, I'm not talking about
I mean,
like actual.
no, there's been no measurements, space exploration, all that. It's all nonsense.
Oh, okay. Honestly, says who makes more sense to me than like if I'm hearing this because it's like Or have we not like discovered all of like our planet's like surface or like what there is out there?
No, there is. This is going to be the part that's going to be really rough. Are you ready? Can you handle this?
Yeah, sure.
The idea that you have in your head about outer space, this ever expanding vacuum full of galaxies, stars, and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's complete nonsense. There is no evidence for any of it. We have no distances to the lights in the sky. There's no way to determine the distance to the lights in the sky. What we see from the surface of Earth has never changed since the beginning of time. We've observed the same stars. They always repeat. They always come back the next year, repeat the same pattern. The planets do what they do. They're called wandering stars. The original term that you've ever heard of, called planet, the original meaning of that word is wandering star. So we have, I don't know, a handful of stars that do little ellipses in the sky. And there's also this thing called retrograde motion where they'll kind of do like a loop and then they'll come back around. But the rest of the stars that are fixed, they have a repeating pattern every year. They do the same thing over and over and over again. All the galaxies, all the stars, the vacuum, the expanding universe, the wormholes, the dark matter, it's all just propaganda. And I hate to tell that to you, but that whole thing is not correct.
So the like everything outer space is like fixed, pretty much.
Yeah, the luminaries that we call the fixed stars, they've always been where they've been. They've never moved. They just reset every year. And that's how we know when the year resets. It's like a clock. Very accurate clock.
And like meteorites and stuff.
I mean, those are light phenomena. I think they're interesting. You know, the story behind them is that an asteroid or some kind of rock from outer space that just all of a sudden fell out of an orbit somewhere is now entering our atmosphere and burning up, which is silly. Now, I don't know what those light phenomena are, but I'm willing to bet good money that they're not rocks from distant galaxies that just wandered over here.
Okay.
The Earth is flat.
You got that right.
Ooh,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
You'll also
Just
find
quickly on that.
that
What
Just
about
very quickly on that asteroids thing. Sorry, brother. Just
Yeah,
quickly on that asteroids thing. Some of those are predictable as well. Like, they happen all of the time at certain times of year. Have you heard of like the Perseids and the Draconids and so on? These are shooting stars, like hundreds of them across the sky, and they come at the same time every year. So yeah, that's weird. It's quite a lot of predictability in the sky. A lot of.
Okay. And what about like on Earth? Like did we see everything yet, or is there still some areas to be discovered?
well, that's a good question.
We talked about like outer space and stuff, and I know you said like, oh, it just repeats. We don't know the shape, but
Yep. It's a good question. For those of us who don't have really big budgets, you know, like the nation states, especially the United States with their massive budget and their, you know, essentially military complex, right? We call it the industrial military complex. This well-funded, you know, loaded with technology complex, this power, has apparently, as far as we can tell, searched all of the known land on the surface of the Earth. Now, does that mean that they've told us everything that they found? No, but it certainly seems like they have the means to go everywhere that they can. And if that's the case, I assume that whatever they found, we would probably know most of what's available, but maybe we don't know all of what they found, right? So we are at the mercy of those who have the technology and the means to go places that we can't go. Interestingly enough, there are places on the Earth where the military-industrial complex and the nation-states have all agreed that we cannot go. So I find that very interesting. Us plebiscites, well, one place they're particularly very protective of is anything past the 60th south parallel, meaning basically anything south of South America. Okay, so at the tip of South America, down there at the bottom of Chile, they really don't like people going any farther south than that unless they are supervised and they are going to tell you where you can go and what you can do. So I find that interesting. There also are places within the north where that's also the case, where they go, nah, we've kind of, assumed control over this extreme north area. Don't really want you going around up here. Besides, there's nothing here to see anyways. It's just ice down south with some penguins and then Santa Claus up north. So it's really cold and you don't need to see it. I find that interesting.
Okay. So basically, wherever there's ice up north, up south, it's like I can't go there.
Yeah, they don't like it.
There might be some more
Cold.
places to discover out there.
Yeah, perhaps.
Or maybe not
Or
there at
perhaps
all.
there's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they've just got other secrets and completely irrelevant to anything we're talking about. In these
Yeah.
places, they don't let us go. They don't let us go a lot of places, mate.
So why don't we go there?
You can't even get on an airplane without getting searched, and you got to hope they still let you on. They could find any reason to say, no, you're not flying today. In fact, you're never going to fly again. They put you on a little list, and you don't fly anymore.
I don't think there's a place on Earth that we know that anybody could point to on a map and say, that's the edge, that's the limit, that's where we need to go. That's
So
not a place that we know about.
why don't we just like have some flat earthers, some people who are like, yeah, bro, like we know what's up. You're being lied to. You're being like, you're not seeing it. Like you don't want to see it. Whatever. Why don't we just have like a bunch of people just come together and I guess like risk it for the biscuit. Like maybe do take a boat. Maybe do like go out there.
We're here. We're here,
Explore.
dude. We're all here right
Hold
now.
on.
Here we are. We're on the boat.
on.
We're here.
No.
Where
Like
do you?
I mean,
I'll
like,
give you.
yeah,
I'll give you all of the requirements, right? I'll give you the boat, the transport, the fuel, all of the food. Yeah.
yeah.
Which way do you go?
I don't know. Like we can, you just flip a coin, I guess, right? I mean, if it's north.
So what we're going to do, like amble around in the desert?
No,
Where
not
are we
in
going to
the
go?
I don't know. I'm just asking. Like,
Yeah, I see.
it's like up north or up south that there might like be something out there. It's like
I'm not
worth
holding your feet to the fire. It's just really the question. I'm trying to help you and everybody else walk down this road, right? Because it's a good question. But
Yeah.
where would you go? Really, like I said earlier, north, well, that's underneath some stars in the sky. South, that's underneath some other stars in the sky. I wouldn't have thought that that's going to lead you anywhere to the edge of reality, being as that's how we find out where the rest of it is. North, south, east, west, cardinal
No, I
directions, blah, blah, blah.
I wasn't talking about the edge of like at all. I was, because my original question was about like maybe, like I asked if there was like some like on Earth some places that we might not have like discovered yet because we don't know the shape, right?
Yeah,
Following.
and this is
So
and this
I
is
asked,
also where
okay,
I'm
well,
leading as well, because that's
where
kind of
might there be
undiscovered.
these places?
Yeah, I'm just leading it in with each other, dude, because it's the same type of thing.
Okay.
Just like the
Undiscovered.
7,000 islands that were discovered off the coast of Japan.
Hmm.
That was quite recent as well.
A couple of years ago, 7,000 new islands were just discovered on when they had all these satellites for 50 years flying around the globe taking pictures. Nobody ever got pictures of these islands till a boat or a plane went out to them and found them. Amazing. Guess those satellites that can read license plates couldn't find islands.
I think we think as masters of our Earth, right, people and human beings, that we know everywhere about this place. We don't even know much about our own seabed, for example. We know more about the other planets than we do about our own seabed, so we're told regularly on documentaries. So there's a lot of places on this place that we wouldn't even consider even thinking about going, because why? We think the whole world has already been discovered. But I guess if you want to be that type of explorer and go and find extra lands and stuff for your own benefit or for other people's benefits, yeah, maybe. Maybe
Well, it
there's
won't
other
be
stuff out
his.
there.
As soon as he reports he found it, they'll say, "Oh, that's ours." Yeah, that's not yours.
Yeah.
You might be interested to know that if you look at some maps that are, I don't know, 500 years old,
Mm.
pretty well detailed maps. There are land masses in the north, actual land masses, not just covered with ice or anything like that, that were on those maps and today are conspicuously missing. So, you know, there might be more land here in the known area that won't be showing up on any maps.
Like which land masses?
Well, I don't have them at hand and I'm driving, but if
Okay.
you look up on the
Like
internet just
actually,
some old maps, anything 500 years older, eventually it'll pop up, right? And you'll see it's like, okay, I see these land masses up there. Now, why don't I see those on the maps I have today?
okay, can anyone else help me out? Because I don't really know what to what to look for.
See if I can
Like
find
just
something for you.
some old maps.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find something. I've got the picture in my head. I know what he's talking about, but you don't. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, I
Just
have
give me a
no
moment.
idea.
Yeah, no worries.
And these land masses are consistently there on multiple different maps from around that era as well. It's crazy.
And it's within different cultures.
No, like mainstream maps from back then. Yeah, they had more land masses. I
500 years
forget the
ago.
name. I forget the name off the top of my head.
Yeah, no problem, man, no problem. We'll look for it because it's interesting for me as well, right? Like getting to hear new information, different perspectives. It's great. Uh, I just I personally I don't really know what to look for. Just some old maps.
Yeah, I know, and I know that's kind of vague. I've got them on my other phones or my other computers. I just don't have access to them right now. But they're out there. They're on the internet.
I can post some links. This is a channel where this lady, Leaving Babylon's the name of the channel. She goes over all of these old maps and shows you.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I would be like I would personally make sure is like they're from like different cultures, right? They're in different civilizations that have these similar land masses. Like I feel like that would help like the case, the point anyone would be making around these.
Well, what would be interesting is because these maps, I think, were made by what we would call Western civilizations, right?
Yeah,
Royal navies, kind of the
yeah,
uh, the the broken up pieces of Rome, but they're still exploring the earth. They're still, making maps of it wherever they go, um, and so they document what they find and they create maps. Now, here's a problem with these maps. If they are official maps, that's something that like maybe a world leader would look at and say, okay, here's the lands that I own, or here's the lands that I can conquer. Right? They
yeah,
would be on that map.
yeah.
Um, if it's propaganda that's 500 years old and there's land masses that actually aren't there, there's still a problem. Either the land is there, or somebody published a map that is fraudulent. So either way, it's a problem. You know what I mean?
Uh, yeah, true, true. That does make sense. I mean, maybe they lied, who knows? Maybe some
Sure.
dude was
And
like,
if
"Oh yeah, like I found some land, gotta make my king, my whatever the fuck happy."
All right, look, here's
yeah,
the map. Here's the video in the side chat. It goes over a whole bunch of different maps, and it's called Terra di Lesso on the old
Hercules.
maps, which translates to the land of Jesus, actually, which is interesting.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. What is this one? Holy shit, America is huge. What is it one landmass?
I'm not sure. She explains everything in the videos. She's like a map expert.
In the last one.
Yeah, the last one. The one above it hasn't aired yet. It's an upcoming live stream or something.
Yeah, I'll skip because she's not releasing anything yet. Oh wait. Okay. Are you guys religious as well? Or not really?
Some are, some aren't.
A bit. Wait, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Did you ask if people were religious?
Yeah. Because I mean, I watched this video and it's about like they're reciting the Bible. Towards the
Oh,
end.
well, some people in here are religious, some people are not.
Oh, okay. What is the pressure gradient?
From the surface of the Earth upward, there's
Yeah.
what's described as a pressure gradient. So there's more pressure down low. As you ascend upward,
Yeah.
it decreases.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It makes sense.
We have one of our frequent copers in there. His name is Bra1. You'll see him in there. He's frantically trying to figure out how he can have gas pressure on the Earth without some kind of containment. And he's been coping for several years now. He follows us around. He's one of our favorite kind of groupie trolls. He can't take it. This topic really bothers him. And we have given his mother specific instructions about when to give him his pacifier, and it seems like it's fallen on deaf ears. I don't think she's given it to him.
So I mean, I mean, for me, it kind of sounds like a fair argument. Like I don't know how you guys think about it. Could you just give me like a quick breakdown on that, maybe?
On what?
Like I mean, he's saying, yeah, okay, gas pressure. Like, what's your stance towards that? Because I mean, it makes sense a bit.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. Gas pressure requires containment as it's defined, even by NASA. Gas
Yeah.
pressure is defined by the force exerted on the walls of other gas molecules and the walls of the container.
Yeah.
That's, that's what air pressure or gas pressure is. You're never going to build pressure unless there's a physical barrier or container to make it. That's why we have tires. That's why we have CO2 canisters and oxygen tanks, and propane tanks. If we want to keep pressure, it has to be physically contained. It just turns out that the Earth is contained because we have gas pressure on the Earth. If we didn't have gas pressure, or if we didn't have some kind of containment for the air, we would have no gas pressure.
Yeah, true.
And that's a real big hang up for most of the people that, like I said, with bruh number one here, or whatever he is, he knows that's true, but he has been trying desperately for years, I guess, here now, to figure out a way to have gas pressure without a container. And every example that he gives us has a container. It's really quite sad.
Well, so like gravity is not like strong enough to contain gases or molecules.
Well, as far as we know, gravity is not even a thing.
Gravity
There
is
is
not
no
a
gravity.
thing.
Nope. There is no scientific experiment or anything that could even tell us if gravity exists or if it's doing anything. That's why there's, I think, while you and I are speaking, there's somewhere 78 to 80 theories about what gravity could be. All of them are just pure speculation. And at the end of the day, the idea of gravity that we've been fed, at least up until now, is only based on mathematics, and we don't have any phenomena we can point to in the natural world that would give us any indication that gravity exists. Because most people think about gravity as some kind of force or something that pulls things down, right? That's what everybody thinks about when they think about gravity. Problem is that not everything goes down. A lot of things go up on the Earth. So when people just kind of tell you to pay attention to the things that go down and say, "Hey, that's gravity," well, they're not even telling you the whole story. We have things
So
that go up and down.
what would go up?
Well, like the gas that you're breathing right now, it moves freely and randomly in directions. It goes everywhere. It fills the available volume. That's what gas
It
does.
dissipates. Yeah, it dissipates. Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, if the only thing that you have to do is change the medium that the object, whatever we're discussing is in, and things will change vector. So let me give you an example.
No,
If you have a
no,
block
you
of
don't need
wood.
to understand.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously, things in the air go down, things in other mediums go up. Yeah. So there's no force of gravity. There's no bending and warping of space-time. That's all just conceptual mathematics. It's just a thinking experiment or a thought experiment at best. There's nothing holding anything down except the container.
I mean, yeah, these are good. I mean, it's good to think, you know, like
Yeah.
it's I mean, it's important to think. I mean, people want to understand what's going on and like how everything works. I mean, that's why people are here too, you know, like to share their thoughts.
Yep.
People disagreeing with like the norm.
Skepticism is one of the most healthy things people can engage in. Now, I think there is such a thing as unhealthy skepticism, where you're just always suspicious of everything all the time, right? I don't know if that's healthy, but asking good questions is never harmful.
Mm. Yeah, like even like I'm asking questions too, you know, because like
Sure.
I don't really know what you guys think. I mean, I just assumed from other flat earthers that you guys would think the Earth is a disk, but I came to
Yeah.
learn that that's not the case, you know?
Nope. We just barely have enough humility to say I don't know. There are plenty of people out there that think that the Earth is flat that will tell you, nope, this is how it is. It's this azimuthal equidistant projection of a map, and this is how high the sun is, and this is how the stars work, and they've got all kinds of ideas and models. But after a while, with some scrutiny, they all fall apart.
Yeah.
We just go ahead and say, I don't know. It's very mysterious.
Okay. But the gravity thing is also like not really a thing, but we do have gases, right? And
Yep, we have gas pressure.
depending on their temperature, depending on their density, they might go up or down.
Most of it has to do with energy states. The warmer, the faster they move. Everybody knows that hot air goes up, right? So
Basic physics,
the the temperature will probably determine most of what happens with gas.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that and density, of course.
Sure.
Density is primarily controlled with regards to the volume and the temperature.
Yeah, no, I was talking about the what the fuck do you call it, bro? I'm sorry, man. I'm thinking in like 3 different languages right now. The properties of different gases, like their individual density, let's say, like their individual weights.
Yeah, individual
Yeah.
weight and density are different things. A gas is less dense if it's colder because gases aren't spreading out as fast. Gases that are hotter are less dense, so they're spreading out faster.
No, I'm talking about the properties of like the different gases. Like there's some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said the mass. It's not
Yeah, like
density.
properties. No,
Yeah.
I know it's not the same thing, but like they're the properties are defined by like the type of molecules we're talking about.
Yeah, the amount of structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the amount of structure means it does something. Let's say helium compared to butane.
Mm-hmm.
Or to keep it easy, what we would call a light gas or a heavy gas.
Sure.
So within, say, helium, there's maybe about 4 protons, neutrons, can't remember. And we'll go down the scale and say we've got something with 8. So we've got one with 4 and we've got one with 8.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? Is it because they're bigger in space? You say that they're more dense because they occupy more space because of their structure?
What do you mean? If they have more molecules, they have more weight. If they
Yeah,
have
if they've
more
got more
electrons.
molecules, they're taking up more space. Is that what you mean? Yeah. Okay, what does that do? Just makes them bigger.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay. There's no directional bias with gas, right? Doesn't matter its structure. It's going to move because it's always going to have temperature. That's just going to depend on how fast it moves. Its direction is going to be caused by its production, primarily over its over its existence, its last collision. After its last collision, it will be set off in a direction. The only thing that's going to change its direction is another collision. Doesn't matter the molecules, the amount of substance in that space, or the temperature that it's got, it's going to go in that direction. That's the interesting thing about gas, and it's really simple with the laws that govern it, right? Gases have the power of indefinite expansion because they're always colliding with each other. And if you put them under containment because of the collisions forced against the wall, we call that pressure. It wants to expand, but it can't. When you open the container and there's an area for the gas to fill, doesn't matter what type of gas it is, it will fill it. Simple stuff.
Mm-hmm. And so we have pressure, right? Like on Earth, on. Yeah, I mean, can I call it a planet? Is that okay?
Yeah. On the Earth,
Yeah.
we have gas pressure. Yep.
Okay. So it is contained, and like this troll guy, he also says it's contained, but like he can't give an example of containment.
Makes a claim, I think, about gravity being a container. I'm not too sure.
Okay, you guys disagree because you don't think like gravity is like a thing per se, because
No,
there's
it
so
doesn't.
many.
Yeah, it doesn't appear in the laws that govern gas behavior. So when people say that this gravity affects gas behavior, we just ask, well, show me. Because it doesn't appear in the laws that govern gas.
Okay. And so what would be the thing that contains them?
A limitation of volume. Now, we kind of spoke about this earlier, though. We're off
Okay.
into speculation land. No idea.
Mm.
It could be a computer program that tells the gas not to go any further because there's no 3-dimensional space for the gas to go in. I don't know. Could be a physical wall. Have no idea. Could be a freaking wormhole at this stage, dude. I don't know. I really don't. We say this in contrary to the position that the globe Earth has, right? They say there's a vacuum up there. For this circumstance to exist, then there must be a barrier separating our gas from dispersing into that claimed available volume. Now, that's not a claim that there's a container in the sky or an available volume for gas to fill. We just have gas pressure, right? We're not claiming extra space, infinite worlds, all of these types of things. We're not claiming that Jupiter's a giant ball of gas uncontained in a vacuum. They are, for this situation to exist. It's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics, a law that governs nature. We're talking about this. So if they make a claim about that, they must have a physical barrier. For gas pressure to exist, however, you do need a physical barrier for gas to press against. Or a limitation of gas to fill. Sorry, a limitation of volume for gas to fill.
Okay. So like, what do we think about Jupiter then?
Not a giant ball of gas in a vacuum. Other than that, no idea.
Come on, man. You gotta give me a couple of.
I don't know, right? I hear a lot of things and I see a lot of things and I read a lot.
Yeah.
We chat, we do individual research, things pop up. Ancient cultures say a lot of things, but there's a lot of ancient cultures and say a lot of things. So it's, I'm still walking down that path, mate. I can't tell you. Some people think these things are alive in the sky, right? That they're some kind of spirits or some kind of life form, or they project energy and that energy influences us. They've been talking about that type of shit for thousands of years. Is that true? I don't know. Are these actual physical things? Do they just appear to be physical things to us because of the way that reality is encoded? Back to that, virtual reality type of scenario. I don't know. These things are possible. I just sit there and look at the night sky and still scratch my head, mate. I've got no idea. I wish I knew. I just don't.
So, like a mass does not like a mass does not like attract, like, let's say, like other masses. Like, it does not have like a pulling force. Like, that's like gravity pretty much, right? Like, that's not a thing. So it wouldn't be what like Jupiter, like what would keep like Jupiter
Yeah, no
being what
idea.
it is. Yeah.
No idea what mechanism drives the sky, what the sky even is. I wouldn't say
I
it's.
mean, then
Come
these would be really good questions to look into,
on.
wouldn't it?
Have been for
Yeah.
years.
Oh yeah.
There's just no way to test a little light that we see in the sky that's not at our reach. Okay, we already know the mainstream explanations for these things. Okay, but the mainstream explanations claimed as science fall under the category, the definition of pseudoscience, right? Because they're not able to test these things using the scientific method, right? This is just a big mathematical concept, this heliocentric universe. We like to stick with what we can actually validate, right? We can validate, or debunk the claim of mass attracting mass, causing the Earth to be a globe, right, and causing all of the oceans to stick to the outside of that kind of thing, right? If mass attracted mass and the Earth was a globe, right, everything would be pulled to the center of the Earth, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the
Okay.
globe perspective, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, and that would include the water, right? The oceans, and that would mean that the surface of the water should be curving at a specific rate over distance.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and it would have to do that, right? Like if you get 20 miles worth of water over the surface anywhere at all on the globe, Okay, it would have to be curving at approximately 266 feet, about 80 meters of curvature over that distance. If it's not doing that, if there's no curvature, then mass attracting mass would essentially be completely debunked, right? Because it would have to be doing that. And it's not doing that. We've got so many tests now showing that there's no curvature over the surface of the water. So whatever's happening up in the sky,
Yeah.
with space or whatever you want to call it, right? It's happening above a flat surface that we live on. We can all test ourselves.
Okay. And like any space agency, anything like that, that's like just that's like like just not reliable enough to take seriously then.
Well, it's not able to be verified, and it breaks a bunch of natural laws. And there's a lot of fakery that's been going on with the Apollo missions, and when they show us pictures of the James Webb Telescope and things like that. Okay, obviously that stuff looks like fantasy land. I mean, they tell us all sorts of crazy things that we can't validate. If you read the space news, they'll tell you that scientists have discovered that it rains diamonds on Neptune, and it rains diamonds on Uranus, and there's distant exoplanets that are an unfathomable amount of light years away, right? And they'll tell you that on this exoplanet it rains glass. It rains glass rain, sideways glass rain. So it's all of these things we can't validate, right? It's it's based on calculations. So we need the core claims validated, right? What's the prerequisite? What's the requirement for these things to be possible? Okay, and if we can debunk that prerequisite, then it's simply not possible.
But isn't that
I
like kind of what math is? Like you have proofs, you have it builds up on each other.
Well, not really. I mean, if I told you I had, okay, so if I told you that my desk is 4 foot long,
Mhm.
right, and then I'm trying to think of a good analogy. Maybe the desk one's not good. So if let's just use the Earth. Okay, if they tell us that the Earth has a radius of 3,959 miles, okay, and we get some math, we get some formulas, okay, and then we actually go out and test to see if the math is correct in nature, and it doesn't match, right? The math, it's just incorrect math. Okay, so you can't use that as in any formulas, right? If the formula is meant to describe something in reality, right? I can't add the 3959 and then base the rest of the formula on that, because if you have one wrong number, right, in these equations, then the whole thing's wrong. So you're going to find that radius value in all of the globe map. Right, the distance to the sun, gravity, orbital mechanics, distance to Mars, right? Everything, it sort of stems from this radius value. You're going to see the R value in many of the equations.
Yeah.
I like to call it the on my unicorn fallacy, right? It's like if someone says they've got a unicorn in their garage, and then they start telling me all these fantastical stories about the adventures that they have on their unicorn and all of these things the unicorn does, right? And then I go and check their garage, and there's not a unicorn.
Yeah.
Right? It falsifies all of their stories, right? All of their stories about the unicorn, okay, are all bullshit, because you don't have the unicorn in the first place, and the globe is the unicorn in this case. Right? On my globe, right, it's X amount of distance to Mars, blah blah blah. You don't have the
But
globe to begin with.
I've got a question, like about the distance thing, right? If we're doing it over a lake, why don't we just do it like over an ocean?
Yeah, we do it. We've got observations over lakes, over oceans, over frozen lakes, over salt flats, all sorts of
Really?
level surfaces. Yeah. Yeah, we got great observations. You should check some of the observations out. I mean, we've had teams of field engineers go out with a $30,000 laser shooting over 40-kilometer distances just above the surface of the water, right?
Mhm.
And they're hitting their target. Okay, so they set up the laser 1.5 meters above the surface of the water, and then they've got a target 40 kilometers away, right?
Yeah.
And that's also 1.5 meters high. Okay, and they're shooting this crazy powered laser straight, right? They're lining it up. They're using all sorts of leveling equipment to make sure it's perfectly level. And
Yeah.
they can level it within some crazy amount of accuracy. Anyway, they're shooting it across and they're hitting their target. And we've got dozens of these laser tests that have been done, all different situations, over the ocean, over lakes, over frozen lakes, over all sorts of different distances, different weather conditions, and consistently hitting the target. Right, with the 40-kilometer one, the people at the target end, right, they should have seen the laser beam 90 meters up in the air if the Earth's a globe. Right, like if you picture yourself standing on the top of a globe,
Yeah.
and then you're pointing the laser horizontally, right? It's
Uh-huh.
going to go straight out horizontally, and that curvature is going to dip away from the laser as you go forward, right? The globe's going to dip away. Okay, so if you do the calculation over 40 kilometers, the people at point B should have seen the laser 90 meters up in the air if the Earth's a globe, but the laser's hitting the target. It's a huge amount of curvature over 40 kilometers.
Hmm.
It's consistency, it's repetition. It's we've got so many tests, and the globe side doesn't have any counter tests, right? They don't have any observations where they go out and they're like, oh, this thing's hidden behind the horizon because of the Earth curvature at the right amount of distance, and the horizon's at 3 miles where it should have been, and we validated that the Earth is curving. Right? There isn't anything like that exists. When we go out and make observations in reality, we can see orders of magnitude further than you would be able to see on a globe consistently.
And there's people that did this across like what, the Atlantic and stuff.
Well,
Like, or is that like too far of a distance?
yeah, you can't do it over huge distances because the atmosphere, right? The atmosphere can become a problem. The temperatures, the pressure changes, things like that. So also laser beams, they start to diverge, right? The beam starts to get a bit thicker as you start to get out further and further and further. And the laser just kind of gets absorbed by the atmosphere because the atmosphere absorbs light. So you can't do them over huge distances. But like I said before, right, if the Earth's a globe, if gravity's real, like they tell us with the mass attracting mass, then you have to have that 400 foot of curvature over that 40-kilometer distance. Has to be there. Okay, even just over 10 miles. 10 miles is enough to do a test, right? You got 66 foot of curvature over 10 miles. That's about 21 meters. It's like a 7-story building of curvature just over a 10-mile distance. Yeah, I'll show you a test really quickly. All right, so this test that I'm going to show you in the side chat, this is done by a guy that originally tried to debunk flat Earth, and he became a flat earther in the process. So he was taking his lab equipment and going and doing all sorts of different tests to try to find the curvature. His name's Dr. John D. He's got a PhD, very smart guy. So this is a test that he did over the ocean. Okay, so this is in Worthing in the United Kingdom. And he set his camera up at 1 meter height, 3.4 foot. And he's looking out at a windmill farm that's out in the ocean, right? The windmill farm is 11.2 miles away.
Really?
Yeah, so according to the globe mathematics, the horizon should be at 2.3 miles. Okay, and the reason that he did it with the windmill farm there is because when you look out into the distance over the water, you can't tell how far away the horizon is just by looking at it. There's no way to measure that. So you use a distance marker. So he's doing it with the windmills that are a certain distance out, confirmed distance. You can see 6 windmills. The closest one's 8 miles, and the furthest one's 11.2 miles. And basically, the horizon line on a globe is a byproduct of the curvature. So that horizon would have to be at 2.3 miles. And that's the maximum distance that you should be able to see the water across the zoom footage. Okay, so you shouldn't be able to see any more water. And then you should see the windmills popping up from behind the horizon. And the bottom of the windmills should be obstructed by a certain amount. And so the 11.2 mile windmill, it's the one on the right-hand side, that should be obstructed by 52 feet. 52 feet, that's like a 5-story building, right? So the bottom 5 stories, huge amount, yeah.
And what
So
is
even
what is like the globe Earth explanation for this phenomenon?
There really isn't one. Look, there really isn't an explanation for it. They might try some people that are flat Earth debunkers or alleged flat Earth debunkers. We call them anti-flat Earthers. Basically, they spend their life trying to debunk flat Earth arguments. They'll come up with things like saying that the light is bending in such a way that it just makes it all look completely flat. And they'll say that really that horizon is at 2.3 miles, right? But it's the way that the light's bending is just flattening out all the water and just making it look completely flat, you know. And this guy goes back and does it on different days. It looks exactly the same. So once you look into light refraction, you'll realize that it is something that happens, right? But it's a very small factor to be taken into account. Once you get heavy refraction, you start getting crazy distortion, start getting crazy miraging effects, right? It looks like ships are floating in the sky and you get things that look like they're inverted and everything looks messy and crazy. That's when you have extreme refractive conditions, right? This guy's got a PhD basically in the propagation of light. It's spectrophotometry. So he's an expert when it comes to the propagation of light through mediums. Okay, he talks about refraction and all of that sort of stuff in his video about this observation. This is just a tiny clip out of an 1.5 hour long video where he goes over all of the details about the observation. In fact, we can see a boat out in the distance when he zooms in, and he tracked that boat at the time. Okay, that boat, it's called the Shetland Trader, and it's about 8 meters above the surface, right? The height of the boat above the water, 8 meters. Okay, but that should be hidden behind 28 meters of Earth curvature. So, yeah, big problems, right? He even took he has close-up photographs of the windmills. Okay, so this is what the windmills look like close up. I'm just uploading
So
an
how
image.
far could he go? Like how did he try to find the limit with this, you know?
Well, you can see as far as the atmospheric conditions will allow you to see, because if you look up the maximum visibility in any location, usually it's about 10 miles, 20 miles, 30 miles, depending on how clear the air is on that particular day.
Yeah.
So that's always going to be the limitation, right? Eventually you're going to zoom in far enough and it's just going to look like a haze because of the atmosphere. It's kind of like if you stand up on a mountain and you're looking out over other mountains that are going off into the distance. Each mountain will look like it's more and more opaque, right? It'll look more and more cloudy, and eventually they'll just kind of fade off because you can't see forever. because of the atmosphere. Yeah. Look here, I found a picture in my folder. Have a look at this one. It's a good example. Right. Each mountain, as you get further away, becomes harder to see because the air is opaque. It's not perfectly transparent.
Yeah.
So even if you have the world's best telescope, right, you can't see through a physical obstruction. The picture above that's a close-up of those windmill platforms, by the way, just so you can see that you can actually see the entirety of the platforms.
Like the bottom as well,
bases.
like the mark, the black mark.
Yeah, the black mark happens when it's low tide, because I guess the salt water strips off the paint, something like that. So he did it at low tide because he had that marking to use as a reference. It's an extremely comprehensive observation. He goes over all of the mathematics. He shows you how much every single one of those towers should be hidden by. He shows you the weather conditions. He shows you all sorts of diagrams he's made, and he goes over everything in great detail. Shows you all the weather reports, everything.
How I'm just like thinking, bro. How come his like colleagues are just snaking out on him then? Like why isn't he getting backed up, or is he getting backed up by his colleagues?
What do you mean?
Well, yeah, like other people who studied like light and like all this shit.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, you're
When
right.
you say other colleagues, there have been other
colleagues, whatever.
there have been other light tests done around the world. When you look into some of these things, I could probably dig out one for you that's done by, I think it's the University of Maryland in London. Same type of thing, sending laser signals over vast distances. I think this was done around the Hawaiian Islands. I think the distances are about 149 kilometers. But this is for like military research and stuff, right? And we're going into an age at the moment where lasers are very much used. They were used for painting targets. Now they seem to be used for blowing stuff up as well, because they're highly accurate. So there are, like, let's say, his colleagues around the world that have done similar types of tests. And yeah, the lasers are really good at targeting things at distance. Optics are amazing. Infrared, different types of frequencies and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that is known about this. They are testing it. He's just doing it on a relatively small scale. Like, I think it's like the DJ said in the video of the wind farm. He's doing this one at about 11, like 15 miles, whatever it is. He's done other laser tests. He's done laser tests on the south coast of England between two piers. I think the distance is just short of 10 miles. Both the lasers and the target are about 6 inches off the water. I think he uses different colour, like different wavelengths of light. But yeah, he's done it. It's done around the world, dude. Look around you. Lasers are everywhere.
Also, in regards to his colleagues, I mean, this is something he's doing as a personal hobby. You know, it's not like he's doing this for work, right? You wouldn't go back to your work, right? You're not going to go into your work and say, "Hi guys, I've discovered that the Earth is flat." It's not going to work out well for you. Most people, right? You can't just blurt that out. They have like a picture of what flat Earth is in their head, right? They think it's a disk in space, and that flat Earthers wear tinfoil hats, right, and have super low IQs and don't know anything, and they make crazy claims, and you can't just go blurt that out to your friends, your family, that kind of thing, right? It's something that a long conversation needs to be had, kind of like the conversation that we're having with you.
Yeah,
you
no,
you
of
can't.
course, but I mean that's like the scientific way, right? I mean, you make an observation, you make a claim, you
We had a
uh,
high level engineer called Brian
yeah,
Mullins. Okay, he
mm,
decided to start making physics videos, right? Called Balls
mm,
Out Physics, where he goes over all of the inconsistencies of the globe model when it comes to physics. Super
yeah,
technical videos, right? He made a whole series, and people started attacking him. These anti-flat earthers, right? These kind of maniac people that, for some reason, want to destroy flat earthers' lives, right? They contacted his company, right? He nearly got fired from his job. He was getting death threats from globe earthers, and his company said, you have to stop making flat Earth content, or you're going to lose your job, right? You have to move
mm,
state, all sorts of things, right? So it's not something that it's getting more and more accepted in the mainstream. It's getting more and more accepted by the general public as it grows, right? As this actual empirical information starts to get out more, but it's not something that you can you want to really risk your career on, right? You got a family to feed, you've got mortgages, bills to pay. You wouldn't want to just go blurt this stuff out, because when people go against scientific consensus, they
mm.
don't get funding, right? They get blacklisted essentially. They get pushed away because it goes against the core fundamental principles of the mainstream narrative, right? You can question things within the mainstream narrative, but if you're going against the core foundations of the mainstream, then that's when you're going to run into trouble.
Um, wait, so but this guy did, however, right? And he did like the test with the windmill. I mean, you showed it to me.
Yeah.
So like, well, I'm just thinking the scientific way is just like you make a claim, like you make an observation, whatever, you have evidence, you provide it, and then other people who are knowledgeable in the field, like his like quote unquote colleagues, that's like just how I refer to them. Um, Usually they would like try to replicate these results, right? Is it like something you would get blacklisted for per se? Because that goes against the narrative or
Well,
the mainstream narrative.
so what are you specifically addressing? The the censorship of it, or um, whether or not these things have
I
been
don't know,
tested?
like I don't know. No, no, I just like I don't know why that's not happening then. Like to me, that sounds like a sneaky thing to do, you know, like you have yeah, like a fellow colleague, quote unquote, you know, like a scientist, someone that tries to understand the world around him. And does some tests, get some results. They're questionable, go against the narrative.
Right.
Uh,
Well, let me put it to you this way.
hmm,
All of us have spent all of our lives on the surface of
thank you, by the way, for
a
that.
flat Earth and didn't know it, right?
Hmm,
Because the pre-assumption is just that strong.
hmm,
Everybody already has it in their mind that it is a globe, and so anything that may be tested in the field is usually explained away by things like refraction or um, mirages and all this stuff. Or you know, like when we take observations with lenses, people don't understand this, but within a lens, uh, there's almost no way to avoid distortion when light passes through a lens. And I don't care how good the lens is. There has to be a certain amount of like curvature to them on the surface for them
hmm,
to receive the light correctly and then pass that image onto a sensor or onto the film. So, all of our lenses are convex or concave upon the surface. What people don't realize is that still affects the image. So there's this thing called optical drop. And so the surveyors go out and they're told to correct on their observations for Earth curve. But what they're actually describing is this relationship within the lens. It's optical drop. And so things will just disposition themselves because of the way the lens is oriented and because everything that they're measuring is below center of that lens. And so there's going to be like a compression or a drop. And it could be totally minuscule. And that's why when they correct, the correction makes zero difference. But they believe that they're correcting for the curvature of the Earth drop, and so they take that out. And then ultimately, what they're left with is an observation over a flat plane. They want to be as accurate as possible. So they're taking out lens distortion and calling it Earth curve. And that way, all of their measurements are flat. But either way, they're even referencing the Earth and creating a flat plane when they take these measurements to begin with. So the Earth is measured flat as it is, and it's referenced that way. And that's what all the surveying manuals will tell you. And they have to. If you look at elevation profiles, rivers, where they flow from the tops of the mountains down to the ocean, this is all a horizontal flat relationship. They don't wrap it around any ball. They don't do any of that. They show you exactly how they surveyed it, flat all the way down. Earth curve is never measured because it's not there.
Mm.
So everybody has this pre-assumption in their mind about Earth curve. It's being explained away fairly well for most people, and so they compartmentalize it and they don't even think about it. I never thought about it really, but um, in things like radar and laser, surface-to-surface missile painting, with lasers, they mark a target with a long-distance radar laser, a very high-powered laser. It's line of sight, and that line of sight to the target across the ocean could be 100 miles, and you have several hundred feet of optic or of Earth curve to contend with if you're going to be painting something over 100 miles, which means that would be impossible. No, they're targeting everything across the surface of the ocean for dozens, sometimes over 100 miles, with a laser line of sight across the flat plane. That's how it works. You're not Boeing no laser. You want to know exactly where that shit is to blow it up, and there's no obstruction. It's all flat. So in practicality, everybody is doing the work using horizontal flat measurements, everything that they do. And in the back of their mind, like, oh, a little bit of Earth, it's not going to matter anyways. And they build the system with a flat Earth, and they measure it that way. And that's how it's kind of gone, for the most part, under the radar.
Okay. I mean, these are some pretty good arguments, guys. That's some pretty good arguments.
Well, some of the people in here have been studying this topic for a decade plus, some people 15 years, right? There's like this weird resurgence. So it's been such a resurgence that this topic has made it to the halls of Congress, where they had to make sure that Google was going to censor us appropriately, right? Or at least flag our content. And it's like, look, if the flat earth is so absurd, then who cares? It would be over overnight, because someone would be like, no, see, between these 2 points on the earth, we've measured it 1,000 times. It drops away at this rate. We have laser tests. All of our measurement. You can see it. And you experience it. You would experience this, and you just don't. You don't. We all treat the Earth as flat in our everyday life. We operate in up and down, left and right, uh, dimensions, and forward and back, and they're all flat and planar, and up is up and down is down.
So, do you guys think people will start like seeing what you're saying and change their minds, like open their eyes, let's say?
On an individual basis, yeah. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
talking about on a wide scale, like some kind of mass
Well,
awakening and
eventually.
a changing in the world, I don't know, man. Been around for 10 years. It's the individual, though. Yeah, see it all the time.
I'll tell you what would make the difference.
What would it
If the puppet masters told them it was flat, then they would all just overnight. They would be like, of course, I always knew it. That makes sense. And interesting that in this day and age, and I don't know if you're in a Western region right now, but if you're aware of, right, some of the corruption right, within the United States government involving, certain um, PDF files and stuff like that. Right now, I'm not saying any of the stuff that. Yeah. I'm not saying any of that stuff is necessarily true, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't know any of these people, right? And I don't know what circles they run in, and I don't know what they do, and I don't know these people. And we all look at them as kind of like these untouchables, like these elites. They're all very wealthy. Most of them are lawyers or businessmen, and they live to make money. This is all about money, and I think they're just involved in some shady crap. And the reason that we sort of like know this is because every major culture or empire or government over the history of mankind, you want to know what happened? The powerful people became incredibly wealthy and corrupt, and they were all involved in some kind of occult BS, and it was becoming unbearable for the people to live, and so they attacked the elites, the rulers, because they were living in such poverty, and and then they all kind of ran away like cockroaches, and then they just kind of spring up again somewhere else. This has always been this way. And these people are liars. And they take their lies and they propagandize the public. Why? Because they think they're better than everybody and they treat the public like slaves. And we all kind of know this. And yet we all want to kind of pretend that it's not true because I kind of want to keep watching Netflix and eating Doritos. It's like it's a fairly cushy life, even though I'm a debt slave to these maniacs. That can't we just kind of bide our time and take out some more loans and tax the people more, and the price of food will go through the roof? Can't we just keep this beat up truck going for a few more miles before it all just implodes? Like this is
that's a Western thing, though, bro. Like that's a Western thing, bro. Like I think a lot of people just deal with bullshit. They like put up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just
This place is ridiculous. It is. Yeah.
Like, unless it becomes real bad. I mean, it's kind of real bad either way. People like not being able to live properly. They have a job. They have 2 jobs. They can't pay rent. Like all of this, like all of that shit.
Yeah. Recently, there was a report that half of the United States population cannot pay their rent or their mortgage. Half.
Yeah.
That means we all know somebody right now that isn't paying their rent or their mortgage. We know multiple people, probably, right? This is not a good state. It's not good. And, everybody's they can't hide their deeds forever, right? So now it's all coming out. I don't know if this is some kind of soft disclosure or what, and I don't really even know what they have up their sleeve, to be honest with you. But I know that they're not going to let go of their power just willy nilly, and you can tell because they're continuously censoring the internet, right? Like there's more and more things that you can't say, and it's like you're going to shut everybody up, so everybody kind of goes back to being, tranquilized cows.
Are you like a fan of Elon Musk then, or do you think he's not?
No,
He's also like
he's just
censoring?
he's just one of them. He came out on a stage and gave a Roman salute. These are all pagan weirdos, man. They all know each other. It's like George Carlin said back in the 80s or 90s. It's a big club and we ain't in it. You know?
Maybe I mean, bro, I thought Elon Musk was fucking autistic, bro. Maybe he's
That's
just
the
autistic.
thing. They're really good at playing both sides. The left hand and the right hand type of thing. Same body, but they get you thinking that there's this one side of the argument, and you'll either lean with them and then there's the other side. They play the theatre in front of you, dude. It's like going to the movie theatre.
He's pretending to be autistic.
Pardon?
He's pretending to be autistic.
Well, I don't know. He might be even a little bit. But either way, he's playing the game. He might have some kind of, like learning disability. That might be true. Still,
Hmm. But you don't like what's going on like whatever Twitter X. I mean, I know a lot of people who think it's like less censorship, more free, more like you can say and do whatever you want, like that kind of deal.
Yeah, right. But you'll find out there is a certain group of people, and we're not going to talk about this much longer, but there's a certain group of people that just cannot be talked about. And I'm not going to say their name or anything, but, and that's still on X. Like, that's one platform where that will not be tolerated. And so it's like, well, then,
Uh,
the one who's telling everybody to shut up, that's probably the guy you should be looking at,
mm,
So, but anyway, yeah, every major culture over the course of the history of man has had weirdo, whack job, power hungry, greedy jackasses at the top. Because you'd have to be a little bit crazy and stupid and wicked to want to rule over other men, right? There's some kind of egotistical maniac desire for one man to dominate another man. We all sort of know implicitly that that's evil. So when everybody says, "Oh, I want to go out and change the world," you realize you're just kind of asking to be in charge of other people. When if we all did our own, just kept, like if we actually did good things on our own and kept our nose clean and treated people with kindness, respect, and love, there would be no problem. We always want to point the finger at the weird people, but it's like, actually, it's my responsibility to take care of my crap.
I thought
I
that was
can
the
point a
American way,
finger.
though. I thought that was the American
Well,
way. Treat your neighbor like his family or whatever.
well, I mean, we call it the golden rule. Treat yourself. And if we
Mm,
did that, there would be no problem, and these people would be out of business, guaranteed. But
mm,
it's hard for people who are so dependent on that system, the system that they've created, and all the money. And it turns out a lot of people are a little bit greedy sometimes, and a lot of people are, lie here or there, and like deceive people. Like we all kind of gotta just pay attention to what the hell we're doing. But ultimately, yeah, the society is continually becoming more and more. But this just is on repeat. This always happens. These major cycles always happen. And there have been world powers. I think people forget, like, oh, they were just, that was the Near East or whatever, all the world powers were just around the Middle East and Europe. They didn't know about the US. No, no, no. World power. All over the earth, there have been major world powers, and there have been at least 5 of them. And so, all of these lands have been settled at one time or another, and large, huge, catastrophic, I think probably um, I want to say cataclysms have occurred on the earth for as far as we can. There's evidence that's like there's been some hardcore weather events, and a large scale, like worldwide type events that defy any reasonable natural explanation. But nonetheless, these kingdoms have like fallen in certain times in certain places, and so we're
are you
just on
talking about
repeat.
are you talking about like the Bible events?
Yeah, so even
Flooding?
outside the Bible, there have been over the entire surface of the earth ancient cultures that have described some kind of major flood um,
Mm,
thousands of years ago. So it's in the Bible, it's in other historical texts and cultures that, and they all have different names for like the characters, but it certainly seems like, I mean, the picture is there. Over all of the earth, ancient cultures say, yes, at one time there was a great flood, and this dude and 7 family members were on a boat and saved all of humanity. Now, you can take that at face value. You can believe it or not believe it, whatever. But the point is that even on the earth, in the surface of the earth itself, you can see where large amounts of water or whatever, it was very cold in certain places. Like there's desert sand that looks like ocean sand, but it ain't nowhere near the ocean, and there's huge whale bones out in the desert. So it's like, okay, there's been some stuff happening here, but we had at least 4 major empires rule what I think is all of the known lands. And so we're at where we're at with this one. And we have crazy dirtbag occultists, evil people that are greedy, and they're trying to create an entire world of evil, greedy, stupid, wicked occultists. That's like they're pushing nobody even pays attention to this, but all of the names for all of like first of all, the solar system itself, all stars are named after Greek or Roman or just ancient mythical gods.
Hmm.
And the rocket ships, ancient mythical gods. And it turns out if you start to pay attention to the names for like some of the cars that we drive around, lots of it are pointing to ancient mythical gods and stars, and it's always like this sky worship thing going on. And so they've just been continuing, like they're trying to get us to understand something. Like they are very spiritual people. These people that run the nations, they're very spiritual. People don't realize it about them, but they just actually don't worship necessarily the gods that you're thinking of. They're worshiping the Baals and the Molechs and the frickin' Jupiters and the Saturns. Like they're paganists. I mean, they're weird.
Wait, you think Donald Trump is spiritual, bro?
Oh
It,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Is he?
it's
Oh yeah.
theological.
Oh, okay.
There's a theological bent, right? An ideology that can be traced back a long time potentially. So yeah, you might not believe it, but they do. Whoever they
Yeah.
are, they come from an ideology.
Oh, wait, who's they? I'm sorry, I kind of. What do you mean by
Oh,
they?
I would describe them as the people who ultimately run the world through the money. Okay. And that
Hmm.
means they have created, well, I mean, that's kind of a loose term, and I don't even think that's an accurate way to describe them. What you're dealing with, as far as we can tell, because of who they're more Babylonian paganists, and they call themselves Jews. Okay? So I don't even think that's they don't worship necessarily the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They don't worship the biblical God. Like if you
Mm.
look at their symbology, like people don't even understand this, but the flag for that particular group of people, the Star of Molech is what's on it. It's not. There's no such thing as a Star of David. It's not biblical. It doesn't make any damn sense. It's the gosh damn Star of Molech. It's been around for millennia. Or the Star of Remphan. Okay, like duh. And that's what the Babylonians. That's what they worship. And that symbology is everywhere.
Yeah, these things didn't disappear. They just changed their name.
Yeah.
Oh, like wait, are we talking about the broader Jew or like just? I kind of lost the plot here, guys.
We're
Like just
talking about people that call themselves Jews, but they're not.
they call themselves.
They're Babylonians. And that's
Okay, but
they're
so,
just
but is it all of them or just like part of them or
no
like how's it?
mostly the ones that are running the finance worldwide. And they're not all, J words. They're not all that.
Okay.
They are they come from many different sectors of societies or I should say nationalities. However,
Uh-huh.
you will find out primarily most of them are white, and uh, a lot of them are also Eastern European. Um,
Mhm.
and so, like, these people run ultimately the financing of the world. The world has been in a bankruptcy since the early 1900s. They got all the nations to go into complete debt. And then this is the funny thing that I think most people miss about this whole stupid thing is it's all about money, but money doesn't even exist. The idea of value is totally immaterial, right? But we treat things like everything's ours, and we don't want to sell anything unless we get money for it, right? But I digress. But they're the ones that are giving us all this. It's the ultimate mind control to teach people that even though the birds eat for free and the fish eat for free, every animal on the earth has all the food it needs and it eats for free. We're the only ones that actually pay for our food. We're the only actually ones that don't get to go where we want to go. Like in the United States, if you want to drive to Canada, there'll be a gate, and there's going to be someone who's going to be asking questions for some papers, right? Before you can go from Canada or from the U.S. to Canada. and they're going to look at your documents. Papers, please, like it was in gosh damn Nazi Germany. Where they would have the frickin' Gestapo, and they would stop your ass and they would ask you for your papers, and we're like, yeah, not in the U.S. And now you can be pulled over for no good reason, and they want to see your papers, license and registration, please.
Wait, can I just
So
ask you a more like maybe personal question? Like, where would you consider yourself standing like politically in the U.S. then?
there's no way I could be politically affiliated, not at all, not at all.
Bro, I just wondered that question. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
where does this guy stand?
No, I have no stance. I don't trust any of them. We've been eating their shit and calling it good for who knows how many of years. But even in the recent years, it's been absolute bootlicking. Like there was a time when I was very political, right? But I was really frustrated because I was like, this boat only seems to rock back and forth, like people just overcorrect. Oh man, freaking, how many years was it under Bush? That sucks ass. We'll do 8 years with Obama. Oh man, that's freaking terrible. Let's go back over here to Trump. It's just they push the public back and forth. They manipulate them, and as they're rocking back and forth, the society becomes more and more immoral. We haven't gotten any better. We've gotten worse. People are more in debt. They're more wicked on a greater scale than they've ever been, at least as far as our recent history can tell. Everywhere. Japan's terrible. China's awful. The United States is a cesspool of bullshit. This is terrible. So, anyways, there are people out there that are pulling the strings of men on a grand scale using nothing more than the immaterial idea of value, money, and it's yours and it's mine. It's just bullshit.
If you're going to bring up things like politics, then you must really easily. That's again people's ideas about how structures of society should be run. Communism, socialism, capitalism, blah blah blah. There's always money behind that. There's always lobbying. You can look at maybe you don't know the British prime ministers very well, but we can link the majority of the Labour Party back to a society called the Fabian Society, which is about 150 years old. This is what you would call a Marxist group. Now, if you've got different groups trying to vie for power, then you understand there's lies and shit everywhere. There's a game at play. Now, do you take part in the game when you can see that it's rigged against you? Or do you, like says who, just stand back from it, see the game for what it is, but don't take any active part against it unless you're acting against, not take any part in it unless you're acting against it. So you don't take part in these things. Pointing at politics, that's rigged. You point at religion.
I mean, yeah, but like that's like the UK, bro. Like I agree with you 100%. The UK is like fucked, bro. I mean, you guys have like how many parties?
Yeah, but the point is, it's by design. We haven't just fallen down this road by happenstance. This shit's been planned.
Maybe I don't know. Like I don't know if it's planned or
Yeah,
not.
that's what. Yeah,
But like
it's
I would
always.
agree with you about the result. Like the
It's
result, yeah.
even look at let's say modern conflicts. So over the last 30 to 40, right, the majority of them based on bullshit. The British government was part of that bullshit. NASA was part of that bullshit when we're talking about weapons of mass destruction. There was information propagated to the world to make them believe a certain story. That evidence wasn't true, but the people believed the story anyway and decided that their governments could ideally go to war, which they did for their benefit, on a lie. The weapons of mass destruction didn't exist. We were told they did.
But to be honest, bro, like it's been always it's always been like that, probably.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And we're discussing the depth of how deep the lies go.
So we're just stuck in the spot that we're at in this big charade, right? So it just so happens, right, that and I think people probably have to kind of come to terms with how easy they can be duped. the sooner we kind of humble ourselves and go, actually, I suppose I could be convinced of something if I never really bothered to look into it myself, and kind of take everybody's word for it if I wasn't all that interested, or I don't necessarily even, the point is like you can get fooled really easily, especially if since you were a small child you were told one story, right?
Mm.
And the story repeated itself over the course of your entire life, and you almost couldn't escape it when you walked past a magazine at the checkout aisle at the grocery store. Even if it's a tabloid, there's going to be something about UFOs and aliens on there, right? And then if you go to the movies, you're going to watch Star Wars and Marvel and Star Trek, and I mean, you name it. And every time that you go into that movie, there is going to be some symbolism from the production companies. And it turns out that all the production company symbolism, for the most part, is occult. It's Columbia. It's Paramount. It's all these ideas, pyramids, and it's just crazy. And then there's Universal Studios. They just blast you with a globe every time you watch their movie. Everywhere you go, the globe is there. The space is there. They're always talking about space and stars. And yep, we're going to go to the moon. Finally, guess what? We were going to go to the moon again in February. Canceled. They just have to keep this thing going. Now, why they're so invested in it? Well, it I don't know. But they're invested in it pretty hardcore to keep people with this idea. I think it's been a pretty handy tool for them. They've made people shit their pants every time there's like a meteor might be headed closely to Earth. Some people are losing their mind. There was a cult way back when Hale-Bopp comet rolled around in like the late 90s or something, and these cult followers all killed themselves wearing Nikes.
What the fuck?
People
I
have lost their
remember
minds. Yeah, it's called a Hale-Bopp comet. And so the propaganda and the constant repetition and the imagery of something that you've never seen with your two eyes has got you convinced that you live on something that is spherical, spinning, in a vacuum. It's ridiculous. But here we are, and everybody kind of had to walk this out. Like, hypnosis really is a thing, the power of suggestion is a thing. And we are very susceptible to suggestion and constant imagery, and stories. We love stories. And if you can put a saga behind this thing, you'll get people really invested. They'll create the images in their own mind. If you read story, you will actually image things within your mind. Most people do this. That's why we love to read books.
Yeah.
And if you
like the
imprint
Bible.
that on, yeah,
Like the
sure.
Bible.
So anyway, the idea is propaganda is a thing, right? So you could get ripped off pretty easy just with imagery, and it's where we're at.
So
think-
and like regarding these, like I don't want to really talk about politics, but like I'm just gonna use it as an example, right? Um, like, do you guys refuse to partake in it because it's like just ideas and manipulation and propaganda?
Yeah, it's useless. I don't have to worry about that anymore. They're going to do what they want to do, whether I'm involved or not.
we just have to be careful of the political issues that they raise.
No.
And some of them are kind of can affect you on your doorstep.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
of them
like
don't.
Hello.
I mean, yeah, I mean, even if they do lie,
Assalamu
I mean,
alaikum.
salam, brother. Yeah, like even if they do lie and they manipulate and they do like propaganda and stuff, at the end of the day, these issues still affect your day-to-day life, right?
Some of them do.
Yeah,
for
of
sure.
course
Are
they
you
do.
from Russia?
Yeah, of course, for sure.
All right,
Sir,
homeboy.
Are you from Russia?
It's just going to have to be dealt with, isn't it?
Yep.
Is
Are
it?
you Russian, bro?
The accent is obvious. I love Russian people.
Yeah, bro. Where are you from?
I like the
I'm
Russian
from Saudi
accent.
Arabia.
Salam, brother.
Alaikum salam. Lovely man and lovely girls.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell
Right,
yeah.
right or not?
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Inshallah, my second wife, she will be
Your
Russian.
second wife, bro.
I'm the third wife. She will be Russian.
Your
Yes,
third one, bro.
all of these. I will marry 4 wives from Russia.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I wish God to be all of the women are Muslim.
What's the
Yeah,
limit? What's the limit?
that's like, I appreciate this short interjection, dude, but I don't think anybody's interested in Russian be marrying.
Please, shut up. I don't love any other guy from
See,
the
I had
from
an
from the world.
inkling that
Please,
this was going to
please,
happen.
please.
This guy is just going to be rude to me. That's not going to go
Yep.
well for you.
Oh, sorry. It was just so random, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure. But there's a good example, right, of groups getting other small groups getting large groups of people to have animosity towards each other. Just say he's Russian. He might have a problem because I'm, from the UK. He might have a problem with Says Who because he's from America, just because of that
Hey.
type of conflict.
Nah, I mean, yeah, I get it, but for me, it's like I don't really care, bro. Like I don't really care where people are from. No.
No, exactly. You don't, which is reasonable. Exactly the same type of thing. But there are groups who would definitely want you fighting amongst yourselves. They've been doing that for years. You pointed that out earlier. They've been lying for years. They've been getting us arguing amongst each other for years. That's just a distraction tactic. Same with the flat Earth. Same with the
Yeah, it's
globe Earth.
politics, bro. It's politics, bro.
Hmm.
I mean, it must be something difficult, right? I mean, if you have the stance, though, like about politics, and like you see, okay, well, it's shit. It's not doing anything. They're lying. They're manipulating. They're using people for their own personal gain, whatever. But at the same time, if you don't go and like make a decision and vote about these things, because they still affect you at the end of the day on a personal level, isn't it kind of like you're doomed if you do, you're doomed if you don't?
No, don't misunderstand me. It's not as if I'm not involved. There's just certain things I don't need to involve myself with if it doesn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I also
Ignorance is
completely
bliss.
understand. Yeah. All right, Mr. Wiz
So,
has
so
to
what?
go away.
So what would that entail? Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, look, there's certain things you're just not going to change, especially as far as the power structure is concerned, right? But there is some responsibility that we have to take. Uh, Number one, for ourselves and the people that we know. For the most part, to do things that are overall good and figure out what good is and where it comes from. Like we all have, I think we have a pretty decent understanding of like, if I didn't want this done to me, I ought not do it to somebody else. It's pretty simple. So if we can't pull that off, well, then we're screwed, right? Like this is not hard, and we don't need anybody if we just kind of take care of that bit. So
Bro, I actually think that's really hard for people to grasp.
What is this, babies?
Bro, it's like people like having the ability to
What is
imagine
this,
themselves.
babies?
What's up,
all
baby?
right.
It's like the ability of people to put themselves in other people's shoes. And sometimes like that
Well,
is really difficult because
Hello.
it's hard
yeah, it is
to
difficult.
to imagine like different situations, right?
Right. It is difficult because we're
Mm,
also self-absorbed. There is a
yeah,
there's a problem with society. So, that's probably even more than this particular topic. Although this topic does help people to go, all right, if I'm getting jerked around, by a very ridiculous control system, then why don't I just kind of mind my own business, do what's correct,
mm,
and I don't have to worry about that crap anymore. I certainly don't have to let them push me around with fear anymore about whatever, because that's
mm.
that's the biggest tool they have is just to freak people out for nothing. People are always terrified of this, that, or the other. Like, Everywhere around the corner, there's a boogeyman. People should not live in fear like this. And there were times in society where people were not this terrified, and the people were more reasonable. There were times, we've experienced them, but it's not going that direction. So, yeah, no, we should invest right in the society as a whole and try to bring good into it. I have no doubt about that. I just know where I'm going to put my money at this point. I know where I'm going to put my effort and my time. And if I do that, then I probably can die feeling like I did something correct. Otherwise, I guess eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Just live for yourself and crap on whoever to get what you want. And I guess if that's what makes you happy, die that way. But you'll have only worsened the problem.
I think you're right, man. I actually think you're right about that.
I've got a request from the chat. We've been talking for a long time, buddy, and we really appreciate it. It's been really interesting.
Yeah.
A couple of guys in the chat are wondering what you've learned about the flat Earth this evening. You came in asking some really good questions. Just wondered if you were going to take anything away from the conversation at all, especially with regards to the flat Earth.
I hope so. I mean, it's pretty late, but I did try my best to listen, and learn a bit by you guys and about the flat Earth and the concepts and some key takeaways. Okay, I think the first thing that I remember that I've learned is that you guys are not really like one bunch of people with like the same outlook on things. There's people who say it's a disk. There's people like well you guys who say, well, we don't actually know. We have the guts to admit that we don't know what shape it is, but we can tell it's flat. Furthermore, the gentleman that was so kind to share the footage of the windmills over the distance of, what was it, 30 miles?
Yeah,
That was
DJ.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
DJ.
they're really good ops, those ones.
I've had a bunch of questions answered. Regarding pressure, we had this one guy in here for a short while, talking about like gravity and stuff. I've gotten your guys' perspective on that as well.
Yep. No, I mean, that's great.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've been told about like space and
yeah, we covered most of it. You've been here for a minute.
yeah, I've been here for a while, bro.
Yeah, that's cool. We just, it's very rare. You're a rare breed. Like, if you never come back in here, we will have at least appreciated your chillness. Most people cannot be chill with this topic. Like, it sends them into a whole new place when they hear this information. And then we usually have to mute them or get rid of them because they can't be
Yeah,
civil.
no, it's fair.
So I appreciate you hanging out and being cool, man. Really.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people just see like Flat Earth channel and they're like, okay, well, I'm here because I'm bored. I'm here because I want to just goof around a bit, and they come here and they goof around. They don't take it seriously.
Yeah.
Or they come here with their personal opinions. Like personally, I don't even think about like my opinions right now. I'm just here and I'm talking to you guys. Wanting to hear you out. I've got a lot of questions. I want to learn. I wanna hear you out.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I'm trying to be
We're
respectful. Yeah.
no, you've been great. It's been awesome
Oh,
talking to you. Yeah, we're here for the most part 24/7. That's kind of that tag on the channel, 24/7 Flat Earth Discord. We have our
yeah.
own
For
home
sure.
server. It's got like 25,000 members, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure, but yeah, we've been invited into this particular server by one of the
Mhm.
server owners.
No, that's
So
awesome,
he
man.
wanted us. Yeah. So yeah, no, come on in anytime. And as you think of things, bring them up. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, maybe I will. Well, I mean, in general, I'm quite busy
Yeah.
because uh, I'm a student, so um, got a couple of projects to work on. Um, yeah, I just need to study, prepare for exams as well. So I'm not sure how much time I would have, but I'm sure I'll see you guys hopefully again some other time.
Yeah, pop in any other time,
I did
man.
enjoy
Like I
my
said,
time.
we're here most
Hell
of the time.
hell yeah. Well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, you bet, bro.
All
Take care.
right, brother. Take good care.
Take care, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.